All right, so Pete, as we know it now, up to this point, the New York Giants have moved on to another coach and another GM, and the GM actually retired up until this point. So they're dealing with a new gang of management in which this team of management now has even drafted Saquon Barkley. So Saquon has done with a plethora of injuries from his ACL to his ankle this past year, and they might just be able to move on from him and might just be done with him ultimately. They did it with Odell, so why put it past the Giants at this point? They've been loading up with draft capital, and they could possibly be looking for that as far as trading for Saquon Barkley. We know that with the running back position, it's not as valuable as it used to be in the past. So usually guys like Saquon Barkley, sadly, will go for maybe around third round picks and lower up until this point. So I wanted to drop down a couple of trade ideas of who he could possibly go to and who is the best fit for him. Because as we know it, the Giants have had not helped him out with their offensive line that has led to his injuries. So the first team I wanted to bring up was the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they have been brought up in the past, the most popular team to land him, and that is with Kyle Shanahan calling the plays these days, and their offensive line with George Kittle helping out as a tight end, putting his hand in the dirt, helping out in the run game. It will be the best line that Saquon has played for in his career up until this point if he does land there, so I can see why they say it's a fit. But now these days, Trey Lance was traded for San Fran for 3 first-round picks and a third rounder for the next couple of years. So I doubt that San Francisco wants to trade more draft capital for Saquon Barkley. And then also with the emergence of Elijah Mitchell, and to a certain point, you could throw any running back there in the offensive line would pretty much look out for the running backs. It doesn't matter. You're getting the result that you want with those two things are happening. Kyle Shanahan calling plays and then offensive line. So I don't see San Francisco really trading that much to their rival and possibly costing somebody a job if it snowballs. When you're already getting to the NFC Championship game at minimum when you're a healthy team. Next team I wanted to bring up was the Miami Dolphins. Now, I know the Dolphins have been in some type of crazy predicament with Brian Flores this offseason, but if you look at this roster, there's some pretty solid talent on this team. The main problem with this team has been offensive line, but in the last couple of years, they have been able to win 10 games and 9 games and be above 500 with this mediocre line. And mediocre is just an understatement to say about these guys. They have also lacked a running back the last couple of years of a revolving door. They end up having Phillip Lindsay and Duke Johnson at the end of the year at one point. So, and on top of that, they have a plethora of draft capital at this point now. They have 3 first-round picks next year. So I can see them possibly trading some of their later round picks to possibly make something happen. Maybe second or third round, maybe even a couple of 4th or 5th round picks can make something happen since the value of running back is just not the same anymore. But the most important thing is, like I said before, Saquon hasn't had an offensive line that's got him hurt in the past. And Tua is dealing with injuries himself with the offensive line in Miami currently. So if they're able to work something out as far as getting some veteran leadership on the O-line and then able to land a trade with Saquon Barkley, then I know the city of Miami will be up for sure. Next team I wanted to bring up is the Buffalo Bills. 13 seconds. 13 seconds from everything being completely different for Buffalo. 13 seconds from hosting an AFC Championship game since the 1990s. 13 seconds from possibly going all the way to LA. But everything that has been said up until this point, Josh Allen had an incredible game against the Kansas City Chiefs on the road at Arrowhead, in which it wasn't enough to get it done. With that being said, the whole season long, he was able to throw the ball all over the yard and was able to run the ball over the yard also, north and south. But he was asked to do that as far as a necessity instead of a luxury. So If you give him a reliable running back with an offensive line that is more than up to par to get things popping and able to happen and execute, you add somebody like Saquon Barkley to this offense. I mean, do you really want to play against Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and shotgun? And you have Diggs, you have Gabriel Davis for the future. I mean, I wouldn't want to really deal with that as far as the defense. And I mean, I feel like that would make Saquon happy as far as in a better mood of winning and possibly for the future of calling a place home. So that's something to think about as far as an opposing fan right now. Josh Allen, him running the ball is already enough. If you're designing plays for Josh Allen to run and then the next play you're handing it off to Saquon Barkley, man, that's a tall task. So the last team I wanted to bring up was the Kansas City Chiefs. I know. Scary, huh? But hear me out. Hear me out. Clyde has simply haven't reached up the first round status. He has been hurt with plethora of injuries, from the knee injury to the hip injury to the shoulder injury, which was his last one. Him being only 5'7" and 205 pounds, in which he ended up saying that he lost a lot of weight this past year, up to about 30 pounds, is just simply a no-no. He was never the most gifted athlete as far as a burner, coming out running a 4.6 40. And now up until this point, it seemed like he has trouble reading holes when the offensive line is simply getting a push about 3 or 4 yards a carry when we're getting about 2 yards a carry. So you add a guy like Saquon Barkley, after trading him for some late round picks and possibly throwing in Clyde in the trade for Saquon, I think that's something that you have to do, because the Chiefs struggle with two high safeties, in which if you're able to run the football instead of having that third option when you have two other options, let's say in Tyreek and Kelsey, you have to bring that other guy down to play the run game. So Saquon is definitely going to make you play the run game when he's on the field, even the pass game also. I think that's something that you have to do when it's a win now mode. And also the Chiefs have multiple third round picks in this year and next year's draft. That's something to think about for the Chiefs if they're trying to become a dynasty here. And it would easily become the best offensive line that Saquon Barkley has played for. So that brings us to the end of our video today about who can possibly pursue Saquon Barkley's talent this offseason. Please hit the like and subscribe button if this is your first time once again, to be notified for any future projects that I have going on. And please don't hesitate about dropping your comment here about who he's possibly going to this summer also, and why you think he's going to that team. Once again, I'm yours truly, Man Myth Legend, Huncho Day in the building and When and Where. Until next time, guys.